Have you ever found yourself in a heated argument where tension is high and emotions are spiraling out of control? What if the most powerful response wasn't to speak louder but to remain silent? And what if, through silence, you could completely shift the dynamic in your favor without saying a single word? Picture this: you're locked in an intense verbal exchange. Words are flying, emotions are surging, and everything feels like it could explode at any moment. It's easy to get swept away by the heat of the moment, isn't it? But what if you paused? What if you chose a different response, not to escalate, but to stay completely silent? Because there's incredible power in silence. It's not weakness, it's a strategy, a quiet force that disarms your opponent, exposes their thoughts, and reveals their true intentions. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Remain silent, let others reveal themselves." And he was absolutely right. When you stay silent, you allow the other person to unravel. They fill the silence, revealing more than they realize. They question themselves, and all the while, you're observing, calm, composed, and in control. Sometimes, in conflict, silence is the loudest, most commanding statement you can make. Now picture a business meeting. There's someone across the table clearly working against you. What's your greatest weapon? The art of listening. Epictetus also said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." It's more than a clever quote. It's a powerful truth. When you listen deeply, you gain access to the other person's playbook. You understand their point of view, their intentions, and most importantly, their weaknesses. And the best part, they'll see it as respect, as engagement, when really, you're quietly gathering insight. Listen more, speak less, and watch your adversary reveal more than they intended. Now imagine another situation. This time, it's with a neighbor. A disagreement is brewing. Tension is in the air. But what if I told you that this potential clash could become an opportunity for understanding? That's the power of diplomacy over confrontation. As Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "A wise man fights with his mind." Diplomacy is about using your mind, your words, your wisdom to de-escalate and connect. When you choose dialogue over aggression, you don't just avoid conflict, you open up space for empathy, understanding, and resolution. So before we explored how silence, listening, and diplomacy can help you navigate conflict with power and precision. Now, let's go deeper. What if you could defeat your enemy without ever raising a fist? Instead of raising your hands, raise your words. Instead of retaliating, choose diplomacy. And you'll witness something remarkable. You can disarm your opponent without ever landing a punch. Picture this: you're being provoked by someone who clearly sees you as an adversary. Your instinct may scream at you to react, to defend, to strike back. But what if there's another way? A smarter path? One that gives you the upper hand without escalating the conflict? That path is patience. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Endurance is not just the ability to bear a hard thing, but to turn it into glory." Patience, my friend, is endurance with wisdom. It's the ability to stand your ground in chaos, to remain calm in the storm, and slowly, silently, turn the tide in your favor. Patience frustrates your enemy. It makes them reckless, pushes them to misstep, and that's how they fall. So next time you're facing conflict, let your patience be your power, because patience isn't just a virtue, it's a weapon. Now picture this: you're in a competition with a strong rival. Let's talk about an ancient but still deadly effective tactic: distraction. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The mind uncluttered by useless things makes room for the useful ones." If you can craft a distraction that pulls your opponent's focus away from strategy, you clear the path for yourself. You move forward while they're tangled in noise you quietly planted. It's not cheating. It's not manipulation. It's understanding human psychology and using it to your strategic advantage. So remember, in a competitive setting, a well-placed distraction can change everything. Now, let's bring it closer to home. Imagine someone who harbors resentment toward you, maybe even open hostility. What if, instead of returning that energy, you met them with kindness? Marcus Aurelius said, kindness is invincible, a short phrase, but one filled with deep truth. When you respond to hatred with grace, you create a dissonance. You disarm your enemy not with power but with poise. This isn't submission, it's strength, it's courage, it's the unshakable resilience of choosing who you want to be, regardless of how others act. A kind word, a smile, a gesture of support, even towards someone who doesn't like you, and suddenly, the battlefield shifts. Kindness doesn't just de-escalate conflict, it wins it, quietly, powerfully, and on your terms. As we explored earlier, kindness can be your greatest weapon, not because it changes others instantly, but because it plants a seed, a quiet doubt, a subtle shift. One act of compassion can make someone pause and wonder, why are they treating me kindly? Am I wrong to hate them? Over time, this seed grows. Kindness slowly erodes resentment, and yes, sometimes even turns an enemy into an ally. So when facing hostility, choose kindness. It might just be the strongest weapon in your arsenal. Now, let's talk about another powerful approach, one that's just as strategic, the art of ignoring. Let's say someone is constantly trying to get under your skin, pushing your buttons. Your instinct? Strike back. Prove yourself. But what if I told you that not responding is actually the smarter play? The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." When you engage with provocateurs, you feed their fire. You give them attention, the very thing they crave. But if you choose to ignore them, if you remain calm, composed, and silent, their efforts fall flat. They're left shouting into the void. And you've taken away their power without lifting a finger. Sometimes the best reaction to provocation is no reaction at all. Now imagine someone actively trying to break you down. They want you to collapse, to quit, to feel defeated. Your natural response might be to retaliate or fall apart. But there's a better way: resilience. Resilience doesn't mean ignoring the pain. It means facing it, owning it, and moving forward anyway. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every attack, every obstacle is a chance to show strength, to stand tall and say, I am not broken, I will not give in. And that kind of unwavering spirit, it frustrates your enemy, because no matter what they throw at you, they can't bring you down. Finally, picture facing not just one opponent, but a group. How do you win without fighting? Infiltration. An ancient tactic, still brilliantly effective. You don't just confront the enemy, you blend in. You learn their routines, understand their strengths and weaknesses, earn their trust, and slowly, from the inside out, you shift the momentum in your favor. As Seneca once said, we explored the subtle power of infiltration, a strategy built not on brute force, but on patience and strategy. Now, let's take a closer look at what makes it so powerful. When you infiltrate your enemy's ranks, you're not just getting closer to them, you're positioning yourself to turn them against one another. You gain their trust, study their behavior, spot their weak points, and plant the seeds of division. Slowly but surely, you begin to transform enemies into unexpected allies. That's the true strength of infiltration. It doesn't require fists or harsh words, just patience, subtlety, and a well-thought-out plan. Sometimes the most powerful way to win a war is not to fight it at all. Now, picture another scenario. You're up against a formidable opponent, someone who seems impossible to beat. You might feel anxious or overwhelmed, as if you're standing in the shadow of a giant. But here's the key. Are you truly seeing them, or just seeing your fear? That's where perspective becomes a powerful tool. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. This quote captures the essence of perspective perfectly. Often, our fears magnify our enemies, making them look larger, scarier, more invincible than they really are. But once we shift our perspective, we begin to spot their flaws, their fears, their cracks beneath the surface. And then we realize, wait, they're not so terrifying after all. And just like that, the balance of power begins to shift in your favor. So next time you're up against a tough enemy, change your perspective. You may find they're not so tough after all. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We hope these quiet yet powerful strategies have helped you understand how to outsmart your enemies without ever throwing a punch. If you've gained even a little insight from this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and watch our other Stoic-based self-development videos. There's so much more to discover, and your journey is just beginning.